What's up, YouTube? It's Boss Brando. I'm back, coming at y'all with another video. I told y'all I'll be back on this channel. I'm gonna be posting as much content as I can. Gonna be staying consistent. Appreciate y'all for supporting me. Please give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, and share. I got another topic today that's very significant and important. I've been thinking about it for a while. It's been in my YouTube notes. I've been, looking at it and brainstorming different topics to share. Come at y'all. But today is a very significant topic, something I resonate with very well in my life, and I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm sure many of you all might resonate with and can definitely relate to it as well. I want to give some advice and share some things on how you may know that you are the chosen one in your family. Well, many people have heard of that term and that terminology, the chosen one. Many people have heard of it, and they may not know how to identify with that, and may not know how to describe it completely and define that. Well, I'm here to do that for you today. For one, in my complete understanding, a chosen one is someone who's sent from God to make a difference on earth and do his duty and his righteous will. A chosen one is someone who's particularly chosen out of millions of people and a group of people that they may be around to specifically do a certain task, a certain a duty, a task, they're put here for a specific calling, right? And you may feel like you're that one, but you might not know how to identify with that. You might not know how to resonate with it, or you may not know how to really wrap your mind around what this may mean or how you may be the one. But some of the key the key reasons why you may know you're the chosen one in your family is because you may grow up in a household as the only child, or you might have a lot of siblings, should I say, because I was the only child for a while until my sister was born 6 years ago. But I was the only child with both of my parents. But needless to say, I was one of the youngest in my family, and my family, we pretty much grew up in the same area of the city. But I can say growing up, my great grandmother had a big influence on my life, and I love her dearly still to this day. Rest in peace to her. Many women and many people in my family did as well, so I won't discredit anyone. But I can say my great grandmother, she always used to tell me, "You're a special young man. You're very talented. You're gonna go far in life. You're gonna be successful. You're a handsome young man." And she was kind of basically telling me and scripting my life out in a way that I really didn't know much about back then, but I definitely can identify with now today. So, I definitely want to thank her for that, and I applauded her, and I always did back then, but I really didn't understand. She was telling me that I would be one of the forefathers and the founders and the leaders of many different brands and companies and establishments, and she was kind of molding me into being the man I am today, and I didn't really understand that being so young, but I definitely do now. So I want to thank her, still in the afterlife, for what she's done and all she's done and contributed to help me become the man I am today. But you may know you also the chosen one if you don't have a lot of friends, you don't have a lot of people that you can relate to, you feel like you're outcasted. That's what I've always been through in my life. Not many people have really related to me. I've always pretty much been downplayed. Not saying I deserve no credit or anything like that, because I never look for any type of credit or any type of glorification for anyone in the world. I've always known me and who I am and what I'm capable of doing. So, I've always, I've never really been, as I was younger, should I say, I was the most spiritual person. I did grow up in a spiritual household and a spiritual family. We did, with Christian base. So everyone did have a strong belief in God, especially with my grandmother and my great grandmothers. They were the founders of that, and they instilled, that aspect of living within the families on both sides. So I can't say that. But just growing up and having experienced things on my own, I can't say I endeavored on my own spiritual journey, got my own understanding of Christ, what the word means. I still am today, so I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. I'm not the holiest person. I'm not the most sanctified. I don't want nobody to think that. We all have sinned and fell short of God's grace and glory. I know I have, but I'm still working every day to become the best man I am today. And every day I try to be the better. Every day I try to be a better version of myself than I was the day prior. So that's what I ask God to help me with every day. But for chosen people, if you don't know how to identify with that, you don't know how to, if you don't know how to really resonate, or should I say, declare yourself as that, or define yourself as that, you might can look at some signs as, how do people treat you in your family. If you want to, like, let's say you was given the gift of art. Some people look at that as weird if they don't really draw, if they don't paint, if they don't like a lot of colors, if they're not into creativity like you. They'll call you weird a lot. They'll call you goofy, things like that. It'll be more like a verbal harassment on the physical aspect, or should I say verbal as well, but from the outer presence it look verbal, but it's really like a spiritual attack on your life, because a lot of these people are really jealous and envious of you and your talent and where your life is going, because they'll see something inside of you that you probably don't see inside of yourself, as being the chosen vessel from God to speak his word and do his will for that he put in your life, because we all have our duties and different journeys and pathways that he placed us on, but it's up to us to fulfill that. So those are some signs that you can definitely see in your life, that you can see that, okay, I'm chosen. I'm out of millions of people, he put his hand on me. If you find yourself often worrying and thinking about different plans and things like that, as far as businesses, different goals, if you have a lot of if you're a very strategic person like me, because I'm always thinking about new things to do, especially something that's, passionate with me. I don't just get up and try to wake up and think about how to make the next dollar. Nothing wrong with money. Everybody needs money to survive, but me personally, I chase. I don't chase anything, but I go after what I'm called here to do, which are passions and purposes, as opposed to worldly pleasures, because those are obviously going to last longer. And I'm here to make an impact, so I know God has placed his hand on me, and, you'll hear those, you'll hear that still small voice, which is God and his intuitiveness. And, that's your intuition. If you have that spiritual discernment, once you have the connection with Christ, he'll always lead you in the righteous direction and give you the journey of life and your roadmap, and your endeavors of life, So that's another way you'll know that you're chosen. One way I could also say, and I can testify to this, is if you'll see that life is a little more difficult to you than others. You'll see that, if you're not by comparison, but from observation and experience, you'll start to question things on, why are you being treated like this? Things just may not work out how you want them to. You'll go through a lot of trials and tribulations. Basically what that is you're being molded. You're being shaped, and kind of like, should I say, God he's placing you onto a battle, and he's getting ready for you to elevate. He's putting you in a position to elevate. But in order to do that, you got to go through the trials and tribulations of life, because he wants to test you and see how faithful you are. So before you get to your pathway and your destiny, or wherever that may be, and whatever that may be, before you embark on your true journey of righteousness and peace and wealth and success and financial gain and whatever it may be, and before you become who you're destined to be, you have to go through the trials and tribulations, because you have to understand that in life we all go through things, our ups and downs, but it's up to you to make the difference on whose side you're going to pick. Is you going to go with the devil and you're going to let him lead you into temptation, or you're going to go with God and be patient? Because that's one of the most important things. And that's a difficult choice for a lot of people to make, especially in today's age with a lot of temptation, glorification, verification through social media, and even in the world itself. It's just so many different things that's thrown at us every day, and it can lead you astray. But you have to have a strong relationship and a connection with God in order to know how to navigate through life. And I'm glad I do. So, chosen people really do have it harder. And, if you have a business, or you're trying to find a way to get that business started, you'll probably have a lot of spiritual attacks in your life. Money won't come as fast. You'll be trying to build credit. You need relationships, because, when you're trying to build those empires and that kingdom that God built for you, and, gave you that, whatever the talents and the gifts and abilities he gave you, everyone needs someone. I can say it like that. I'm not going to say that you need someone to put you in position all the time, but you know, if you're going to be a boss of a company and you're going to run it, you might need a PR, you might need a receptionist, you're going to need a manager, you're going to need someone to sell the product, whatever it might be. So no one can do everything alone at a certain level, should I say. But everyone's journey is their journey. So on your own journey of life, you will have your own trials and tribulations. So you'll look at it, you know, some people will, not all, but some people will look at life as, well, you know, they have some of the same things I want, or they're already where I want to be, and it's taking me longer. So am I really chosen? Is it really for me? You know, did God really put his hands on me? Did he really call me to do these things? Or, you know, and that's self-doubt, you know, that's fear, that's anxiety, that's worry, and that's what the devil wants. He wants you to be stressed and, you know, out of place mentally, so you won't get to where you're supposed to be in this physical and spiritual aspect of life. He wants you to side with him, and before you know it, you'll be led by him in temptation, and you know, you just act out of fear, and that's an emotional standpoint. You never want to do that. You always want God to be the author of your life, because he wrote all our books before we were here. The book of life was already written, should I say, and he knows our journey. He knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb. Let me say, another way you will definitely know that you're chosen is if you just always, you know, feel lonely. I would say that's one of the things I would say. You definitely feel lonely a lot, like you have no one to really adapt to, relate to, like no one understands you. And that can be in many ways. It could be just not just with, you know, whatever you're trying to accomplish, but just on the everyday basis, the way you think, the way you act, your integrity, morality, if you had these things installed in you. Because me as a child, I was always taught young to do what's right and accept, you know, my consequence for my actions. I was always taught how to believe in God. As I mentioned, I'm very, you know, strong faithfully. Not the perfect Christian, but I say once again, so let me keep reiterating that. And no one is, but I was just always taught, you know, how to be better than where I'm from. You know, a lot of people want to represent the wrong things in the wrong way. You know, you don't got to always represent where you're from. You can overcome that. And I always knew that. And that's what I was taught. And I reiterate that. And those are some of the things that I recycle into the youth and to younger people that may not understand. And, you know, I don't have to really mention the person's name, but they know who they are if they ever see this video. I did give them a lot of encouragement and let them understand that, you know, he is, he's better than where he's from. He's better than what he's partaking in. And he has to make that decision, especially with a child. But that's another point. And these actually are some of the things that I was told, not by many people at that. I can say definitely my mother. She's a wonderful woman. She told me these things. She gave me that encouragement and started that strong willness into me as a young man. So she always gave me the utmost, you know, respect. And she almost gave me that. I reiterated that to her as well. She always, you know, let me know that I can be anything I destined in this life. And, you know, patience, she's very more patient than me. I could say I'm growing, and I'm starting to I'm trying to encourage myself to be patient. I'm developing that over time, because I know that nothing comes easy. Anything that does come easy isn't worth having. It leaves just as fast as it comes. So, you know, with success, with a battle of entrepreneurship, you know, whether it's on YouTube, businesses, you know, clothing, economics, financial literacy, a lot of the things that I didn't come up on, I'm starting to embark on now and grow and learn. It does take time, but, you know, with the time and the patience, it pays off. And, you know, all I ask for more than anything is peace, more than money, you know, because, you know, without that, you know, it's really like your life is worthless, you know. So, yeah, like I said, to reiterate that, just to go back on it, not to get too much off topic, you definitely feel like you really can't resonate or relate to anyone, or no one understands you. And I always felt like that in life. A lot of people, they just never could understand me. You know, I was always just outcasted and looked down upon, spoken negatively towards. And, you know, I don't mind really, because, you know, so for some reason, you know, the underdog, that's what I always felt. I've always came out on top, not to brag or boast, but God has always had me if no one else has. So, you know, if God is with me, then who can be against me? So I really never cared about friends and anything like that. And yeah, just a side note, if you are feeling like you're lonely or depressed, or you feel like you need some type of acknowledgement or something like that, I can say it's ways to go about and doing everything. But you never want to get into like a circle of people that you may see on the outside that look popular or maybe doing something that may not resonate with you. You don't want to get into trying to seek worldly validation, whether it's on social media, in the world. You don't want to step outside of your boundaries to become somebody you're not because you feel like you're non-relatable. So you don't want to try to reverse your mind or let the devil reverse your mind, should I say, to trying to step inside a lane that's not for you, to get verification, validity, self-consciousness, security, because, you know, if you're insecure, that's a step you should take within God and, you know, getting a spiritual discernment of yourself and working on yourself, because nobody knows you like you and God himself, because he made you. But nobody can know you and understand your journey and who you're destined to be like you. You know, the world can't do it. You know, family, you know, they can't even help you sometimes. They can't shape you into who you're destined to be. Sometimes that you got to do that self-digging on the inside to understand what's in your heart or your mind. So, you know, you got to understand that everyone's pathway is different in life. So, you know, you don't need any type of verification from anyone to do anything. If it's destined for you, it'll come. You don't have to chase anything. You know, if you've chosen to be here for a reason, if you've chosen to make that difference in life, go after whatever it may be. You'll know. Everyone should know their purpose. I inspire everyone to go after it, because life is short. Fulfill your dreams, fulfill your purpose. As I mentioned in my last video, if you didn't see it, don't abandon your purpose. So y'all go check that out too. Make sure you watch the video I just posted about a week ago. Don't abandon your purpose. And also the power of patience. Those are my first two videos I posted on my channel, so y'all go check those out. Like I said, I will be coming with more content. But yeah, those are definitely some symptoms, not symptoms, those are definitely some signs that, you know, how you'll know you're the chosen one. To conclude, I could say another one is if you're connected spiritually, God will just constantly speak to you. You know, that's one thing I can say, because that's what he did to me. And there was at a time I just felt lost. You know, I really didn't understand what my purpose was at this time. I think maybe it was about 6 years ago. I didn't know exactly what I was put here to do. And one of the reasons I could say that was probably because I wasn't who I am today. I can definitely say that I wasn't who I am today. I had been through so much in life so young, and I'm still going through so much. It's no excuse. I'm not saying that, but at this particular time, I was in college, and I was just going through so much depression and anxiety, and I was really like, you know, questioning life, questioning things I had been through. Why me? I felt like I didn't deserve any of this. So I was like, you know, I was really like asking God, what am I here for? Because, you know, I was only chasing jobs, and, you know, I got another video coming on that too. I don't want to spoil the topic for y'all, but I was just chasing jobs, you know, temporary money with the workforce and things that I see now that, you know, it's just not for me. And he just instantly spoke to me like, you know, you like fashion, you love to read, you love to write, you love the content, do that. You know, become an author, become a fashion designer, love cars, become an automotive salesman, things like that. I haven't gotten into real estate, but I do love real estate. I love nice homes and property. So, you know, he just spoke to me out of nowhere, and he told me, this isn't for you. And I was like, wow, you know, that was the first time I had actually heard God speak like that. You know, as long as I declare myself as a Christian, I declare God, Jesus, my Lord and Savior at 7, 8 years old, something like that. I just had never been intertwined with, you know, him so spiritually, and I just never had that voice speak to me like that. So, you know, you'll definitely know that you're chosen to do great things from the, you know, adversities of life and the way people treat you. But not only that, by the way that the way God speaks to you and what he'll reveal in your life. And, you know, some of these things that can be to you, it'll be looked at as a hurdle or obstacle, but in reality, it's all shaping you to become who you're destined to be. So you just got to know how to discern that and take the good with the bad. But, you know, like I said, everything, you know, never look at a loss as a complete loss. It's always a lesson in those losses, no matter what it is. It's just up to you to apply that to life. That's what I'm good at. I'm very good at, you know, applying the negative aspects or what I might go through, and, you know, from my discernment and my understanding experiences, my knowledge of life now, I understand how to apply the losses that I have taken, the quote unquote losses. And I understand, okay, well, what can I learn from this? How can I be better than this? How can I improve myself from that situation? How can I overcome that? Let me see what I can do to escape that, or, teach my future children and my sister not to do the same thing or walk that path. And that's what I've always done, because I'm someone that's a verbal, visual, verbal, visual, overall, I'm just a learner. I'm someone that likes to feed my mind in every way. If I can teach, if I can be taught, if I can see, if I can do it physically, any type of way, that's what I like to do. I like to learn and grow. And that's what I put here on this earth to do, as well as teach. So that's why I'm in front of this camera. So, y'all see me a little timid, a little nervous, shy. I don't practice anything. I don't write any scripts. I don't type anything in my notes, which, it can probably hinder the process of me putting out the content the best way possible. So that may change in the future. Of course I will, kind of practice a little bit, but that's, y'all see me a little camera shy. I'm not the one that's used to being in front of the camera. I can say that. If you know me personally, I'm the one that's used to being behind the camera. Everybody want me to take their photos and record and things like that. So that's me personally, what I'm used to doing. But, my mission and my duty is to get in front of this camera and inspire so many people, because eventually I'm going to be on panels and stages all across the world as a motivational speaker. That's something, actually, not to even get off topic, but, I was in college, and like two great friends now, wonderful young women, ladies to Christ at that, and they doing a great job on spreading the gospel. Two of my great friends in college back then, they were crazy. They were different than who they are now. They were on a different path for life, and which we all were, because we were younger, a little more immature. But I'm not faulting them. But they used to always say that you should be a motivational speaker. And as I mentioned, at this time, I was just mentally, I wasn't really there. I didn't really know my purpose until God spoke to me. So I used to be wondering, like, why was they saying that? Why they say that? And I was always told I'm very intelligent, I'm intuitive, I'm a bright young man. I was told that by family friends, my mom, my dad. I was always told that by people, but I never really could see that for myself. But now, by me spreading a lot of, due diligence to people, a lot of knowledge from experiences, I don't like to see people going down a negative path. If I can do something to stop it, I can. I definitely don't spread any type of ill will or negativity towards children. By me just reaching my hand in many places towards many people, and especially whether it's, through social media or in person, I can see that now. And then I have a very, very powerful voice, and my vocabulary is, significant and very my vocal skills are very intuitive and, intact, and I'm only growing from here. So I can see why people would say something like that about me. And I've actually inspired others to do the same. So, I appreciate those two women for those compliments. They know who they are, and I'm sure they'll see this video. But, so like I said, if you're chosen, God has put his hands on your life to do great things similar to me, and we all going to grow together in his word, in his name. We're not going to look for worldly verification. I encourage you all not to do the same, because I'm not. Don't look for worldly verification and validation. Whenever you do that, it never leads well. The reason I say that, like I said, because you end up going down a pathway eventually that's just not for you, to please others, and that's people pleasing. You just don't want to do that. That's against the word of God. You never put no idols and no other gods before him. Remain humble, stay patient, put the work in, and, keep your trust and your faith in God, and things will go the way that he planned it for your life. So with that being said, I'll conclude this video. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. Share this video. Repost it, do whatever you can to get this message spread. And leave some comments in the comments. Let me know y'all journey. Let me know if you feel like you're a chosen person. Let me know any type of situations you've been through. If God ever spoken to you to let you know your journey, I'd like to re-engage with y'all in the comments and get some feedback. But I appreciate the support. Y'all make sure y'all share this video, give it a thumbs up, and leave me some comments. I'll take care. I'll be back soon.